Boop. Ooh, that was a close one.
Oh.
I almost missed it.
You know what? They might not even hear it. That was
good. It's a little secret one.
The softest ones I've heard so far.
It's a little secret one.
Episode 20.
Yep.
This is the Phil and Chase Watch Everything podcast. I almost fucked that up.
All right.
And today's a special episode.
It's a special episode today?
It's a special episode because we have a special guest.
Oh, yes.
And that is Nikki. No knick-knack. I'm dog sitting this week, so Nikki is here.
Nikki the dog.
Recording with us. So you might hear some licks and some scratches, and that's
possibly some barks.
I'm very surprised. She's one of the quietest dogs I've ever met in my life.
Say hi, Nikki.
And that was her saying hi.
Perfect. Sitting regally with her paws crossed.
She's like, why is South Park stopped?
Yeah. Just sad that South Park is paused.
But yeah, so episode 20.
Episode 20, but crazy.
It's wild.
20 episodes. Who thought we had it in us?
I always knew we had it in us.
I always knew.
You know, all we needed was just to talk about movies, and we just fucking go off.
That is true. That is true. We had some people over last night, and as soon as I found out dude was in the movies, I had him in, you know.
Did you tell him about the podcast?
It got brought up.
Okay, thank God.
It got brought up.
I was about to say.
I'm pulling my weight around here, too.
You think I'm on the street corner the way I pedal this goddamn podcast. Psst, hey, you like movies?
So nobody
check out my style. I pull out. I have a trench coat on. I'm like, I got what you want.
They're too freaked out to listen to the show. That's why. Our numbers haven't gone up.
They're just like looking behind their back, just running. They're like, what in the fuck?
But one of these days they'll be sitting at home like, what was that podcast called? Yeah.
Especially at work, there's that little alleyway between like the coffee shop and Manila's.
So you like movies.
Holy shit! Where'd you go from?
Piece them up. Yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about today. But Philip,
Chase,
I want to start out with a surprise.
Oh, I had a surprise. Now you get one.
You have a surprise for me? Nikki was the surprise. I keep doing this. You're like, special surprise. I'm like, what? And it's always Nikki. Nothing. No offense to you, Nikki.
Because she is special.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, I have a surprise, but I have to ask a question first.
Oh, it's a surprise question?
The surprise comes after the question. The question is, never barks. And
she wants to know what the surprise is. Hello.
Well, my question is, do you hate me?
No.
Well, it sure feels like it after finally sitting through Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, did you?
I did.
That is a pleasant surprise. I'm happy to hear it.
I finally watched Saving Private Ryan. The only thing harder than sitting through that devastating film you made me watch is not telling you for like 4 or 5 days that I've watched this movie.
That's funny. I have a surprise for you.
Oh?
That's the movie I was going to buy you.
That's hilarious.
Because you're always like, well, I don't own it, so I can't watch it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy this motherfucker. So he
would have doubled down and never watched it.
So there's no excuse.
Well, yes, Philip. I finally did it. After almost 20 years, I finally watched Saving Private Ryan.
I'm so happy.
And I was so sad.
It's a sad movie. It was nothing happy about it.
No, it was one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. I immediately from the jump, the whole D-Day opening.
Omaha.
It's
Beach,
like,
right?
you know, I've like, obviously, it's a classic film. It's been referenced throughout film history at this point.
But to see, like,
to actually see it was too much. I was already feeling like weirdly anxious that day for reasons I just don't know why. I just felt kind of keyed up, and then I started watching this movie. I'm like, well, this is not helping at all.
Not a movie to watch.
Oh, it made me so stressed out and sad. And I was home alone, so I'm just like crying on the couch at just how intense it all is. And I'm just like, you know, it's one thing to watch, you know, a war movie that you know is fake, but like, you know, it's like, yes, this was a fictional story, but D-Day happened. I mean, they stormed those beaches, and that's about how it went down.
Just pure fucking carnage.
All I could think was just like, these were real people. I mean, this happened. And I mean, it just sometimes in movies, I feel like that happens, where like I will see something over and over and over and over again, like done in movies, but then it just hits that one time where it's like the historical accuracy of it just really burrows its way into your humanity, and is just like, yeah, pretty fucked, isn't it? And it's like, yes, indeed. And yeah, man, it was a rough watch. It really was.
And it's long too.
Yes.
And it's never easy.
I even thought that to myself. I was like, I finally watched it. I do not know when I will be sitting down to watch this movie again. I mean, it was just rough. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
There's a reason why I've been pushing it for so long.
It was well worth the wait. And then, I feel like there was a little bit of reprieve, like, there in the middle, but then, like, that ending is just like, remember how sad you felt at the beginning? Well, you're leaving this movie like that, too. I'm like,
was I a good man?
Damn it. Killed me, dude. Killed me. And the thing is, as soon as he said that, I'm like, Phil's going to say that on the podcast. I guarantee this line sits in his brain, I'm sure.
Yeah. It gets memed a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the transition from, like, young Matt Damon to old Matt Damon in the cemetery.
Oh, I feel you.
That specifically gets
makes
memed
sense
a lot. Not necessarily the line, but the line hits.
It does, yeah. I was like, it's rough. Nikki, you got something to say?
I don't think she's ever seen it.
Oh, well, see ya. Yeah, well, it's finally happened. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
My problem is like, I've been pushing so hard for you to watch this movie for so long that you're going to watch and be like, nah, I didn't really care for it.
No, I definitely enjoyed it. It was definitely very good. I liked the cast. A lot of people I didn't even realize were in this movie.
Good old Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, in a role that I don't think I've seen him in ever since.
That was a sad scene. Got shot right by that sniper.
Just had to bleed out.
Yeah, and they had to watch him.
Yeah, and that ending too of like, you just went through this journey with these people, and it's just like, what really got me was the German that they let go that ended up shooting Tom Hanks in the end. I was like, because there was just enough time for my brain to be like, is that? And then he fucking shot Tom Hanks. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So I was glad that old dude that it was originally like, this isn't the right thing, we should let him go, was the one that shot him and let the other Nazis go. He's just like, you though, fuck you. I vouch for you, and then you go and do this shit.
Yeah. I think like the saddest scene for me was the dude that was running around during like that final battle with all the ammunition.
Yeah.
And could have saved that guy.
Oh yeah.
With that slow stab,
bro.
And he just panicked and just did, like, watched him run up the stairs, and then it's like that one.
So hard.
That was I was like,
because it's
just heart wrenching.
He was right there.
He could have.
He was
done
right
something.
there, dude. Like, that's what killed me about that scene, man.
Yeah. He's
right there. I texted my cousin afterwards. I was like, I just watched Saving Private Ryan for the first time. I was like, oof. I said, what a rough watch. And I was like, I can only imagine if this is as bad as it is, how bad Schindler's List is going to be. Like, my God.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
He said, what about Sophie's Choice? I was like, I have seen that one. And that one's pretty rough, too. But, excuse me, Nikki? I was told you weren't going to be vocal, and this is...
I think what happened is because we didn't let her out before we started recording. Oh my.
Is that what you think about Saving Private Ryan?
Are you... I mean... okay. I guess we can...
Oh, like nothing ever happened.
Oh, yeah.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, it was good stuff. I'm glad I finally got around to watching that. I wish somebody had told me to watch it sooner, you know what I mean?
If only it was like a critically acclaimed movie or something that everyone would probably put on their need to watch list.
If only. Who knew? You know? Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, rough watch.
It'd be on my top 100.
Makes sense. Because on the DVD it said it was a winner of 5 Academy Awards, including Best Director. But I was like, the fuck did it lose Best Picture to? And now once I texted my cousin, that was like the first thing he said back to me was it lost to Shakespeare in Love that year. Yeah, that's what a lot of people said.
I made a face.
That is
just in case you can't hear that
out there in podcast land. Yeah, I guess it's on a list of like controversial Oscar winners. Shakespeare in Love beating out Saving Private Ryan that year was quite the kerfuffle, as it were.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've never seen Shakespeare in Love.
Me
so
neither.
It's hard for me to say, but
I just feel
I have seen Saving Private Ryan at least like 5 times.
Yeah.
I feel like so. It's up there, probably one of my favorite war movies.
I mean, I can dig on that. It was hard. It was hard to sit through, man. It is an emotionally devastating movie for sure. I was not ready for just how emotional it was. I mean, like I expected to be sad. I expected there to be some emotional stuff, and whatnot, but I was not prepared.
No.
I was not ready.
No, and I didn't give you anything to be prepared for. I gave you minimal.
You sure did.
Cues. I just said, just watch the movie.
Just watch the damn movie, please. Please.
You know what sucks is now I have to find something else.
I was literally just thinking, I was like, and now you can't say shit to me anymore.
Because I finally got you to watch Basketball Diaries after like 4 years of pestering.
I was going to say, I watched that one pretty quick in comparison. Yeah. This took like our whole friendship. We're going on 16 years. But we got there. Yeah, so Saving Private Ryan. That's it's not what I started my week with, but it's what I wanted. I had to get it out of me.
Yeah.
It's been very difficult. There have been like 16 times today I almost slipped up just because I was like, oh, kind of like, I almost quoted it at one point and I was like, ooh, I better not do that. That's going to give it away.
Like, what the fuck
Thunder!
Did you say? Oh, I won. You said
clap. Fucking.
I won.
Well, phew.
I got that. It's been a long time since
Fake
I watched
fan.
it.
Seen it
I don't know.
Seen it 5 times. Doesn't know shit about it.
Doesn't know every single line. Shit. So what did you start your week with?
Oh well.
How many did you even watch? Let's do that. Let's go with that. Because I watched 8.
Well, I watched 7 and finished a TV show. So
okay, so
we can go 1 for 1.
A little 1 for 1.
Although I think we got a lot of not a lot of crossover necessarily. I think we have 1, 2 crossover, and then just many that we've mutually seen, I guess.
2 crossover, and you should have seen every movie you gave me. So, yes. So, yes. I mean, it's a very mutually watched week. So
I guess, aside from Saving Private Ryan, the other one I'll just get out of the way quickly is I finished a show I'm sure Philip hasn't started yet.
I have not. It's Spider-Man. I have not.
It's Spider-Man. It's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It wrapped up this week. I enjoyed it. I've been enjoying it. Still enjoyed it. I'm excited for season 2. I hate that I don't know when season 2 is coming out. I don't even know like a time to look forward to. I just know that
just the future.
Just the future. Just the future. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to really get into it since somebody still hasn't watched it. Plus, I mean, everything I've already said about it kind of still applies. It's a very good Spider-Man story.
Yeah, we talked about Spider-Man a lot last week.
We did. Well, hey, guess what? We're about to talk about it a lot more this week.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We've got a lot more Spider-Man on my plate this week.
Okay. You watched every single Spider-Man movie.
I thought about it. Didn't do that. Just watched 2. But we can get into those. What are yours?
It Follows is what I started my week with. Good old STG.
STGs.
They'll
get you.
Every time. I've been laughing about that joke for about a week now. I've really been enjoying it. Really a couple. Since the first time I made it, I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. I guess, like, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, where I feel like
STGs being sexually transmitted ghosts.
Oh,
For those that don't know the joke.
That didn't listen to the podcast a couple episodes ago. Yeah. It was just, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it's something that, like, it's a problem, but it's not. It's like a problem that has solutions. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, sometimes, I mean, maybe not permanent, which is what we talked about. I mean, it's not like, okay, I had sex with someone, now I never have to deal with it again. But, it does buy you time. Like I said, like, there are ways to, like, yeah. I mean, if you first start to, just get around. Be like Tupac, he got around,
See, but that's the thing, though. Like, if you go out and have sex with a bunch of people, you're only passing it to that one person.
Well, yeah, I mean, just hope that they are asleep.
Well, you're gonna hope. I mean, but even then, like, that this thing could get past 30 people down, but I mean, it's still gonna work its way back, like, So
well, yeah,
I feel like then you're living with this, like, having to live or like looking over your shoulders sort of deal.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be like, what's the other alternative?
Just
allowing it to kill you?
You better hope that you're getting it in on a regular basis. Otherwise, that motherfucker's going to get you.
Yeah, or like I said, just be like an international, like, just fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? Just go to different countries. Try to...
Clock it. You just keep tabs on whoever you passed it on to. The moment you see their obituary, you're out there smashing.
Honestly, you should though.
That's honestly the best way to do it.
Just like, okay, shit, that person died.
Here we go again.
But I mean, for like the most part, I still did enjoy it. I mean, one thing that I will say that I thought was just like absolutely ridiculous. Not even a silly thought. Goddamn, not even a Philly thought it was a silly moment, but Philly thought this was fucking insane. Where it's like the pool scene.
Yeah.
Like at what point did they think that was ever going to be effective? For one, they already shot it and saw that they couldn't kill it, right? So they already know that it can't die. So what do you think you're going to get into a pool and just have a bunch of electronics hooked up around? You're going to shock it to death? Like, do a seance or something. Like, there are so many other ways to try to go about that. And then they chose the worst one. Like, the worst, hey, let's get into this enclosed area and try to trap it with us. It just...
Yeah.
It
seemed like a bad idea, for sure.
Yeah, and then it started throwing the electronics into the pool. She's like, it's not getting in. It's like, and then dude's just popping shots. He's like, where is it? It's like, he can't even see the damn
Shot
thing.
the other chick by accident.
Yeah.
Fucking her back.
And then the one guy is like, oh, I'll fuck you. And then didn't even take it serious. But that also, I felt like was kind of like a hang up. Like within the plot, because it's like she started saying the thing immediately.
Yeah.
And then he went like 4 or 5 days, like, oh, I didn't say anything. And then all of a sudden it just popped up and killed him. I'm like, I feel like there should have, either one, he would have seen it.
Maybe he didn't know what he was seeing.
I guess. Yeah. True. But I don't know. Because even when they went to the school and found the dude that raped her.
Yes.
And he was like, just by how freaked out he was and how freaked out she was, I felt like he should have taken it a lot more seriously then. It's like, what, you think they're both in on this fucking joke? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like, okay, we'll let it slide. I mean, he died anyways, but...
Yeah, he sure did.
But overall, I mean, it was decent. I didn't, hate it by any means. It was alright.
The director always said, as in regards to making a sequel, he was like, well, the plot line, he's like, just flip the title. And it's like, follow it. And that always intrigued me. I was always like, I'd watch that. I was like, the two left at the end are like going to go after this thing. And I was like, intriguing. I mean, I'd be here to figure out how the hell they plan on making that work.
Yeah, because I'm over here, my gears are just turning. I'm like, oh, the fuck.
Right. Don't ask me to write that script. I don't fucking know. Don't ask Phil. You're going to get an international man of mystery. Just out here
look, man.
shagging left and right.
Just be old 007. Just
that's what it sounds like. I was literally going to say earlier when I was like, you're keeping tabs on the last person. You sound like a super spy who's just going around fucking people to. You just got a network going on.
Oh no! I mean,
we gotta move.
I feel like if you can get it to spread it, across multiple people. I mean, because you don't know who's gonna be fucking who. Some people go through dry spells. I get that. I've been there myself. But I don't know. Like just in hopes that, like I said, like go to an orgy. Like that's at least a handful of people. I mean, I get that. Eventually it might come back to you, but.
Leave the orgy.
That's just more cushion.
All you got to do, you just have to have the one during the orgy.
Yeah, did you start
boom,
with?
You're a phantom.
Let me check your ID real quick, okay? And then just jot that name down on the list.
Let it get around. Yeah,
it's like a different blacklist. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. It's just people to look out for.
Mario, almost back to me. Time to host another orgy.
Ugh.
It follows.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, kids.
Yeah. Or just
practice
celibacy. Don't fuck
just
anybody ever. You don't know what they might have. Because STDs, that's one thing.
You're going to wish you had herpes.
Oh, shit. They might be forever, but that ghost is coming at you.
Oh, yeah.
It's slowly walking towards you. You're a beeline in. I'm assuming you can walk on water. It was never discussed. But it went into the water.
I like to think that it does like a Pirates of the Caribbean type thing.
Oh, like just jump ship.
Just walks along the bottom of the ocean sort of deal.
God forbid it gets on an airplane. That'd be pissed. That kind of cancels my whole going to a different country thing. Like that's a 13-hour flight. That's not nearly enough time.
I don't have the time for this. I was really banking on you walking over here from overseas.
I got to record a podcast today. I don't have time to try to find some poontang. But yeah.
Does it get? See, now I got follow-up questions I've never had before with this movie. Like, what if you like fuck an inanimate object? Must it be a human? What about a sex doll? If it fritzes out, is it dead? Does it come for you next? I don't know.
I don't know. It's like
get David Robert Mitchell on the phone. I'm gonna be like, I got some questions about your script, my guy.
Hey, we really sorry to psychoanalyze this thing. And,
I used to enjoy this movie, but now I'm just overthinking the fuck out of it.
Fucking let Philip watch and yeah, that's too many goddamn questions.
I fucked up. Yeah. So what was next?
Oh, am I going next too? Yeah. I guess technically you did too, I suppose. Well, you just mentioned that you finished Spider-Man, so it doesn't count. But it's a movie we both watched. And thoroughly enjoyed.
Is it Sonic?
It's Sonic 3.
Yes.
It's Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yes. Didn't get to see it in theaters, but still enjoyed it. Almost so much that I almost watched it twice this week. There's just a part of me that really wanted to watch it again.
I almost did.
It was fucking enjoyable.
It was a lot of fun.
I had
a lot of fun sending quotes back and forth.
It was a blasty blast. I'm
1,000,000% muscle or whatever the fuck he said.
Even his teeth are muscles.
And that was so funny. I laughed so hard.
Knuckles most definitely stole the show this time around.
Oh yeah,
he's hilarious. All the like I said, that line. He's like, I dishonored my marshmallow. I was like, I don't know why I think that's so hilarious, but it is.
It was funny.
Coming out of Knuckles' mouth, it's because I feel like it's the sincerity. It's like how much he means it.
Oh yeah, he really he takes that stuff seriously.
Right.
He was about ready to go blows with Sonic for asking for the emerald or whatever the fuck it was. True. And he's like, you know what? I made an oath to trust you, whether I agree with that or not. I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain.
Team Knuckles.
Turn around, Team Sonic. He came around. He put his ego aside.
He sure did. It was only a few weeks ago I watched the other two, and maybe closer to 2 months at this point.
Yeah,
now I'm thinking about it.
I was saying like a couple weeks. I'm like,
but couple months, couple weeks, whatever. Times,
Tell us,
relative.
audience, when did Chase watch? Sonic 1 and 2.
What did he watch?
What have we watched?
When did he watch it? But yeah, because Paramount Plus did their thing that they like to do, where they're just like, "Hey, we're dropping this tomorrow." I was like, "Oh," and I woke up the next day and I watched it, and I'd heard a lot of people say that this was the best one yet, and I definitely walked away from it agreeing with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
I just thought it was really fun. I liked the pacing of it. I just thought the action was more like fun, and I love Shadow. And I felt like he was pretty great in it. Keanu Reeves was a perfect fit.
Yeah, definitely gave a shadowy
performance. More Tails action. I'm never upset about that.
How could you be?
Couldn't be. I wasn't.
I thought the race at the beginning was funny. And trying to do holograms. He's like, "How did you guys beat me?"
What I really liked about the hologram bit, though, was that they were waiting for him. And as somebody who played a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog when he was a kid, they were doing that thing that they do when they're waiting. Or if you're like playing the game and you like stop playing for a little while and your character's just stagnant, he'll start tapping his foot. And that's what they were both doing. Like when he gets there, they're both standing in that stance, like tapping their feet.
That's
and
funny.
I was like, nice little Easter egg there.
As someone who didn't play a lot of Sonic, that went completely over my head.
Yep. And then they have the little tease there at the end with Amy, I believe is her name.
See, I knew Shadow, but I could not think of what her name was.
Because there's like a whole, I think they call themselves Team Chaos or whatever, and there's like an alligator and maybe Amy, a few other people. I don't know. My buddy used to have like a Sonic game where you could play as the different teams.
Okay.
So there was like Team Chaos, Team Sonic, Team Shadow, like all that kind of shit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them expand this out.
Though? He sacrificed himself.
Oh well, there's the little thing at the end, little tease at the end.
Is there an?
Yeah, maybe that was like a post credits. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was. You gotta start sticking around for movies, bud. Act like you've watched some movies in your lifetime.
Oh, that's normally just reserved for like Marvel movies.
Yeah, well,
now everyone wants.
Now everybody wants a slice.
Now everybody wants a post credit scene.
But yeah, Shadow walks. It's like his little armband or whatever, the little golden bracelets that he like detaches near the end. There's one in like a crater, and then you see his feet walk up, and he like picks it up. Oh. Yeah, so I'm assuming Shadow will return.
I guess, it would make sense that he would just be able to teleport himself before it blew up.
Yeah. I'm not feeling as good for Jim Carrey this time around, unless Shadow just teleported him out of there.
It's possible, he was on the outside of the ship, and Jim Carrey's on the inside.
Teleport 2 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I told you, when they first announced like that Jim Carrey was thinking about retiring, and it was either around the time he did Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I was like, come on. I was like, that can't be your last movie. Like, and I hadn't seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at that point. I was like, that can't be your last movie, Jim Carrey. No. But then seeing this one, I'm like, this could be. I feel like he'd be going out on top with Sonic 3. I just feel like him doing the dual roles as Robotnik and his own grandfather. Hilarious. Some of the hardest laughs I had in this movie, aside from Knuckles, was Jim Carrey this time around. I loved their dance. I loved their little laser dance. It was definitely worth the hype that I'd been hearing about it. I enjoy that song that they play too. Galvanize is what it's called, by the Chemical Brothers. Gotcha. And so it really cracked me up when they like lip sync the part about it's like, my finger is on the button, push the button. And like I was just cracking up. That was a lot of fun.
Good.
But I love to see him becoming more Robotnik, like as the series goes on. I always enjoy him and like his little henchman, Agent Stone. Yeah. That whole little dynamic that they have. I love when you first see him at the beginning and he's like drumming on his belly and shit. And he walks in, he just screams. It's like, yeah, don't bring my mortal enemies in here while I'm playing congos on my fat belly.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. Now I can't wait.
I enjoyed it. And now you still need to finish Knuckles.
Now I got to finish Knuckles, and I'll just take it slow to fill my time till Sonic 4 comes out.
Yeah, no, just watch it.
Just shut the fuck up and watch it. Okay.
But even with that being said, I feel like Wade's part was almost my least favorite.
Oh yeah, he showed up for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. And even in those 2 seconds, I felt like it was just like, okay, I get that you and Knuckles are buddies, but I don't think Knuckles would ever trust you with such a powerful thing.
I almost
find hockey weird.
See, my thing. Well, yes, but my thing was I feel like putting myself in Knuckles' shoes and just thinking like Knuckles would think. It was almost like one of those things. It's like, who the fuck would look here? You know what I mean? Like, who the hell would check with Wade?
Yeah.
It's the last place you would think he'd put it.
I mean, that is true. That is definitely true.
So that's kind of how I took that. But I also was like, they were just trying to get Wade to show up in this movie.
Yeah. They're like, hey, here you go. I mean, because he had a bigger role in the second one.
Yeah. Then he got a nice meaty role in Knuckles, and people bitched about it, and they said, no, you get a cameo.
Wade.
You get a cameo in 3.
Yeah, you got a whole show, motherfucker. You don't get to play the third one.
They did. I will say one thing that I still find weird about these movies is the whole like James Marsden's character and his wife being like, oh, these are our kids, and like, you know, it's all just kind of strange to me. I was like, okay.
Why?
I don't know. It just is like weird to me. Like I don't really feel like it was anything in the games. I know this was just for the movie, but like,
the games we run around on levels. There wasn't.
Well, yes, but like there were other games that had more of a story, like the Shadow the Hedgehog thing. That's like, you know, there was the whole thing with like him and the little girl that he was friends with. Like that's all from the video games. Like that's all.
Well, I mean, you are more of a Sonic head than I am.
So
I really don't have room
shut your fucking mouth.
I don't have room to talk.
But
me and Nikki will just sit here in silence. Then.
Great. Hi, this is Chase Watches Everything.
Well, Phil listens.
Just you fucking listen.
You shut.
You don't play the game. Don't fucking talk then. No.
You deserve to watch the movies.
No, I don't even know what the fuck we were talking about.
Sonic 3.
Well,
and you thought
and now Chase is silent.
And how you felt weird about
it's weird, bro. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Like, I get it.
I like it.
Okay. No need to shit on it, man, I guess.
No, you can't.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'll
just wipe the shit off.
It's just strange. It's just strange is all. It's just weird. I don't know. They could have just been buddies. Like, why did they have to adopt them? It's just weird.
They're family.
I mean, I get that. It's all about family. I get it. I see what they're doing. I understand that much. But all that being said, I feel like there's been like a conversation about moving away from the human characters and trying to do something with more of just like the Sonic the Hedgehog characters. How do you feel like that would work?
If they just like kind of nix the whole human.
Oh, you got us. Phil's an AI.
I don't know what traffic lights are. Tickled myself with that one. No, I think it could work. I think if they went to like a different planet, would be more, I feel like, better way to kind of segue away from that.
Yeah. I don't see them just like completely lopping it off.
Maybe the house explodes and like.
I didn't think they were going to do that. They're a family. They can't just kill them.
Well, I mean, it almost broke Sonic.
Exactly. You do that again, they're gonna have problems. Then Knuckles snaps too. I'd hate to see with Tails angry. My God.
Man! And Knuckles saved the day. We saved them when they were falling.
Yes, he did. Knuckles, the star of the show, really.
The real hero.
The literal star of the show,
yeah.
Knuckles, but also the scene stealer of Sonic 3.
One of my favorite scenes was him being afraid of ghosts.
Hilarious. There's no such thing as a friendly ghost.
I thought that was... Because then Shadow spooked him and he screamed again. That's really what got me. Oh,
yeah, that whole bit, because they did it like a few times in a row with the Shadow spooking people and...
That'd be scary though to see Shadow just pop up out of nowhere and be like, "Boo."
Well, yeah. I feel like he fucked me up. I'd be terrified. What other reason is Shadow the Hedgehog?
That was Sonic 3.
Great. Back to me, I guess.
I guess, unless that was next on your list.
Well, that's what I started my week with. So I guess let's get into some Spider-Man again.
Let's right back to it.
Swing back into things. I've been playing too much Midnight Suns, listening to Peter crack all of his shitty jokes.
Shitty.
That's how they treat him around the Abbey. They're just like, ugh, Peter and his puns. We hate it. It's like, but do you? You kind of love it.
I know I love it.
They always get a little smile out of me. But I rewatched Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Okay. You didn't go across?
No, not yet. Saving it for next week, I
nice.
guess. I'm bringing another hot take to the table here.
Hey, let's hear it.
I feel like as time has passed, I have grown to enjoy that movie less.
Okay. Get out.
Oh my gosh. It's not that it's a bad movie by any means. And obviously the first time we saw it, we were like, damn, that's some Spider-Man right there. I mean,
There's a whole lot of Spider-Man.
There's a whole lot of Spider-Man. And I mean, obviously, I still enjoy it. I just get less enjoyment every time I watch it. I just feel like it's one of those movies I start to watch it and I'm just like, when's this going to end? And I don't know. Like, I feel like I just am never like as plugged into it as I was like that first time I saw it. And every time since then, I'm just like, meh, it's okay. And I don't know why that is.
I don't know. We'll see how you feel with Across the Spider-Verse then.
I mean,
maybe you really liked that one the first time, and now you're just like, meh.
I see. I even when I saw Across the Spider-Verse, I was like, this was okay. Oh. Like I felt that way. I mean, yes, there's a lot of cool shit going on, but like it was also half of a story, which is why I was kind of reserving like my feelings on Across the Spider-Verse until I saw the next installment. But at this point, they keep pushing it back so much.
They want it to be perfect for you.
I mean, you'd think, but I feel like they're just dealing with a lot of bullshit behind the scenes, and it just keeps getting pushed back. And Across the Spider-Verse came out in 2023, and this movie is still not slated to come out until about 27 or 28 at this point.
Are you serious?
I shit you not.
All right, well, that's a little fucking. I was going to forgive it, like maybe 2026. 2027.
They just kept pushing it back. They just kept pushing it.
I'm not waiting until 2030 to watch this goddamn movie.
And that's what kind of like, I don't know. I maybe that's part of what like took the wind out of my sails is just like it's taking too long to get back into this world. Like I need to know how things wrap up here and like.
Yeah, especially with such a cliffhanger, and you're gonna make me wait that long.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I just watched half of a movie, like, and you're gonna make me wait like 5 or 6 years to see the other half.
That's like saying you're not gonna get Wicked Part 2 until 10 years later.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Who cares at that point? I don't even give a shit. I'll go see the play. Yeah, you know.
I would like to see the play.
I would like to see the play, but that's irrelevant. I mean, I'd go see it spitefully.
How does this end?
But yeah, man, I don't know. It's still good because like I was watching it and I feel like part of it is like once we crossed a certain threshold of the movie, I'm like I feel like I never see the back half of this movie ever. I feel like every time I put in Spider-Verse to watch it, maybe it's just kids have ruined it for me. Like as one of those movies that's just on all the fucking time now, and I've just seen it one too many times, and that's why I just need to give it some time.
Yeah, let it breathe.
Maybe that's all. Maybe like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Bring it back out once they actually commit to this.
Put it in the cellar, and then when it's time, just dust off that bottle.
Yes.
Let it aerate a little bit, and
fine Spider-Verse indeed.
A nice bottle of Spidey wine.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Just
nasty.
Spiders.
Terrifying.
No. Yeah, I don't know. Mixed feelings on this viewing, I guess. But I mean, I usually enjoy this film. You know.
What about Spider-Ham?
I mean, Spider-Ham's great. I, honest to God, forgot about him until I was watching the movie. I was like, oh shit, that's right.
I like John Mulaney.
I do too. He's been popping up in a lot of stuff lately.
Good.
I've been enjoying it. Good for him. Good for him.
Cleaned up his act, and now he's getting acts.
Hell Yeah. So that was Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that is sweet.
And then I watched...
Oh, you're just going to just go through your whole catalog.
Oh, I thought we were going 2 for 2.
I thought we were going 1 for 1.
Oh, well, you did too, but we happened to share the second one. Run it back. I got it on tape.
All right, well, then I guess we'll go 2 for 2.
Anyway, so then I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because I watched The Amazing Spider-Man last week.
AKA The Death of Gwen Stacy.
Oh, oof. Ah, ugh. Never any easier to watch. No. See, and now it's kind of strange because I feel a little flip-flopped on this one as opposed to the last one I just was talking about, because even last week when we like kind of brought up Amazing Spider-Man 2 like a little bit, I mentioned the thing about how I felt like one of its biggest problems was it was trying to set up more stuff rather than focus on its own story.
Yeah.
Watching it now after all this time, it's been 10 years since that fucking movie came out. Almost
the
11.
Time you watched it?
No, I've seen it since then.
Okay.
It's just been a while since the last time I watched it. But watching it this time around, it's just like, I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like it's pretty honed in on its own shit. Like, yes, there are Easter eggs in here. Like, there are things. Yes, they were trying to do the Sinister Six thing. But I don't necessarily feel like that gets in the way of what's going on otherwise.
No.
And I just
I feel like they've kind of just focused on Electro and
Harry.
And the relationship with Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know. I still feel like the Andrew Garfield ones are really up there for me.
I mean, they are good. I just don't understand why so many people dislike them.
Oh, yeah.
I get that there are certain things, even like towards the end of that battle where it's like whatever the song was, like, well, Peter's
Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, I can understand people like, oh, well, that's just stupid. But other than that, but overall, I just don't think it's like a bad story.
No, not at all. And what was kind of annoying was like when No Way Home came around, all the people who acted like they never had a problem with this movie, all of a sudden they were like, oh yeah, Andrew's the best, he deserves a third movie, blah 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 blah, like those other 2 movies are great. I'm like, oh, I know at least one of you motherfuckers is lying.
Yeah, someone's just on the fucking spider dick right now.
I'm saying, like, and because like I was, now that Bella's like actually finally seen these 2 movies, having watched them coming right off of watching No Way Home, there's a lot of shit that comes up, like that feels very appropriate. Like I definitely feel like No Way Home was, and maybe that's why I felt even better about the Amazing Spider. I've always liked him, but I felt like I really liked him this time around, almost because it feels a little more complete. I feel like No Way Home closes some of those loops a little bit, which is nice, of just like what did happen to him after this. And so when he was talking about not pulling his punches after the death of Gwen Stacy, man, that shit tracks. Like, he was not okay.
Yeah.
And I will say I'm very glad that they cut out Mary Jane in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I just feel like, because they cast Shailene Woodley as Mary Jane, and she was going to be in it and everything.
Oh yeah, and, the bitch from Divergent. Because she was in the Fallout.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she was.
Interesting.
I was like, I know this face. And I look her up, and sure enough, it was her.
But yeah, she was supposed to play Andrew's Mary Jane. And I'm really glad she didn't show up, because I feel like that would have cheapened Gwen's death.
Yeah.
For sure. But to know that he didn't meet Mary Jane, like, at all, pretty much, from the sounds of it. Like, maybe he will later. Like, I feel like with enough time, I wouldn't mind that. But, like, I like that he was just kind of festering in his emotions.
Yeah. And because as someone who had read the whole Gwen Stacy storyline within the comics themselves, like, I already enjoyed the death of Gwen Stacy, so like I already had some, like I already kind of knew about that, and so like I mean, yes, like Mary Jane was around, but Peter didn't give a fuck. He was like, okay, cool, hi MJ, like I'm Peter, and there wasn't like, it wasn't until like later down the road where they actually started to like form a bond together and stuff like that. So it was nice. And then, did you ever hear about the whole controversy about the Gwen Stacy death with Stan Lee? Like when
in the comics?
When it happened. So apparently, from what I've read, is that I guess Stan Lee gave him because they pitched the idea or whatever, and then I guess Stan Lee gave it the go ahead. And then it came out, and he was like, "Why would you kill Gwen Stacy?" Like, he was like, apparently, he was like real upset that they did that. Yeah. And I guess like the reason why they wanted to kill her off is because like they didn't know where else
to go with
her. Like, she kind of like was at like this pivotal moment where there's only so much more they could do. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, have them just like get married and just move forward like with that storyline and stuff like that, and they decided to just end it. And then apparently like a lot of comics kind of followed those same kind of it was like the Gwen Stacy effect or whatever, where like other comics started killing off like main characters like that and stuff, because it was a shock. Like when it happened, like people were like, what? It was a big deal. So I'm glad that like when they did it, because I knew even when I started watching The Amazing Spider-Man, I'm like, I know where this is going, and it's sad. It's sad.
Well, I was telling Belle that I was like, I didn't personally know going into Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I do remember a lot of people did know. A lot of the people that knew, and they were like, this is not going to end well. And it's rough to go back and watch it because of how many lines of dialogue in this movie are that much more sad when you know how this movie ends. Because like the whole movie, he's like, I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you. Like pretty much just the whole fucking movie. Right. And then that's exactly what happens. And you're just like, God damn it, son. That's awful. Sucks.
It was.
I will say,
and it pretty much happened the same way in the comics with in the movie, with her falling, and then he wasn't able to catch her in time.
Which just every time in No Way Home, it gets me. It gets me.
Oh, the first time, even knowing that it was gonna happen, like the first time I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2, and like there's that catch and the snap, I'm like, my stomach dropped. I'm like, oh,
it's rough, man.
I was like, that is just sad.
Yeah,
just a sad scene.
That it is. I will say, come time for Secret Wars, if Marvel's really gonna go balls to the walls with the cameos and all that stuff, I really don't think anything will make that theater cheer quite like Emma Stone showing up as Spider-Gwen. I feel like if she showed up, especially in a scene with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, that'd be great. Yeah. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty damn cool.
That would be something.
But yeah,
what do I have next?
You're Spider-Man.
Oh, I don't know exactly what I have next.
Oh, well then what is it?
Yep. Are we done with Spider-Man? I don't want to...
Oh, I'm done. Until next week.
The Green Knight.
Oh yeah, The Green Knight.
I watched The Green Knight.
Well,
per Chase's request. And you all know what Philip thinks about that movie?
What did Philip think?
It's exactly what I'd want out of a medieval King Arthur story. It literally had everything that I wanted.
Well, hell yeah.
I enjoyed. I think it's Gawain.
I think so.
I know their last episode there's
I was trying to get a lock on it, and then like 3 different characters pronounced it differently. I'm like, now you're just fucking with me. I was like,
but if I remember,
yes, that sounds, yes.
They really threw me for a fucking loop. So like when I guess I'll backtrack. We'll get to that. Yeah. So I don't know. Even like with the whole thing is with the Green Knight and stuff, and King Arthur's like, it's just a game. Like, remember, it's just a game. And I remember you're talking about like, oh well, in a different scenario, you just go boop and then just be done with it.
Yeah.
The Green Knight really hammed up that fucking neck chop though. He was like hung his head and like he was like
he was playing off of the hubris
on the platter, and he wanted to Gawain wanted to make it like be known, like and make a name for himself. So he's like, I need to. He had Excalibur, which I thought was dope, and just chopped his head off. And what fucked me up is when the dude picked his head back up and put it on and just did this maniacal laugh as he left him. Like, there's no question he's gonna cut your fucking head off, dude. Like, but yeah, because I even enjoyed the little puppet show about the whole scenario, and like he got what he wanted. He has
a
his
legend.
story. People know him, and so he's going on the journey, and he runs into that traveler who like robs him, essentially. And so they did that camera pan, and then they showed like him just like dead, bound up, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I had to rewind it to make sure. I was like, did I miss something? Like, I saw that they kind of just left him there. I was like, did he not escape?
That's so funny.
And then they kept panning around, and then he was alive. I was like, don't do that to me. And
fake out.
Even the story with the lady that had her head chopped off and all that, I loved that, just because that's just a very medieval, mystical fucking just like little story that a knight would go on this long journey of just, he had his adventures. He met the giants. I thought that was cool. The thing with the house with like the little witch and her husband, that was eerie. That was weird. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that was strange. I read after the fact that there are certain trials that a knight goes through to become a knight, and basically he fails at every one of those trials as the movie goes on. Yeah. And it's like he fails when I think it's generosity, and when he only gives dude like the one thing after being asked. Like, it's like he didn't just give it up. He
was like, I give you my thanks.
Yeah. And then when he does meet the girl whose head is chopped off, he asks what he's going to get in return, rather than just doing it.
The selfless act.
And then he fails at a test of friendship with the fox as well. The fox is just trying to be his friend and look out for him, but he also fails that. And I thought that was interesting when I read it after the fact.
Thank you for reminding me of that, because I loved the fox. I love foxes. I'm a big fox guy, and so the fact that he had this little fox following around, I love little fox friends. I just thought that made me want to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Hell yeah!
It made me want to go to all the fox dens again.
I loved the ending. That's what really locked it in for me. Like, I was enjoying it, but that ending, when he like sees his whole life play out if he ran away and what he would become and everything that would play out, I was just like, and then it cuts back, because I was like, damn, like they're really just gonna go through, and then to cut back and show that he's just still there and he's just thinking, he's just having this vision of his future life, like, that was baller.
And I mean, it's an unfulfilled life, because he knows he doesn't deserve it. He's clinging on to something that he never should have had in the first place. And guess what? The Green Knight was right when he was like, is this all it is? He's like, what else is there? Yeah. And it showed like all it was just death, essentially. Like, his kid died. Like, he betrayed his lady friend that wanted to be his lady, and he's like,
which is rough, because he loved her very much,
but he was like, I have a kingdom to run now. I need someone else. And so all of it, and then he's like, you know what, here, let me take off this little
little protective thing, and he just took it.
Because I know that he failed whatever that trial was too.
Well, that's what, like, it all comes down to. You are no
knight.
Like, that's what eventually makes him the knight, is that act of courage when he takes the sash off. That's protecting him.
Knight.
Yeah, and then
let's chop this head off.
Well, because then apparently, like in the original story that this is based on, and a lot of adaptations, like the Green Knight, or not the Green Knight, but Galwin lives in a lot of them. The Green Knight does let him go, but they do leave it a little ambiguous here because, you know, the Green Knight runs his finger over his throat or whatever, and he's like, "Now off with your head."
Yeah.
And they do it in a way that it's like it could mean now off with your head and then literally chop off his head, or now off with your head, like off you go sort of thing.
Yeah.
And according to all the other versions, he does get to go because he passed the test. Like he acted courageously, and the Green Knight was like, "Yes, like that's what I was looking for."
This is what we've been working towards.
And I just love the I don't know. I love a good, just like wise man, you know, like as a big reader of Buddhist texts and stuff. I love that the Green Knight himself, like he wasn't menacing. He wasn't, you know, like evil, like nothing like that. I mean, he was he just was, you know, and it just, he laid out the rules quite simply. And then at the end, when he finally like has his own little moment of wisdom, he's like, there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Another thing that I thought was really funny is like before he left, he was talking to King Arthur or whatever, and he was like, "So do you really think he's gonna cut my head off?" I was like, "Oh, you know, I don't know. He might." He was like, "Go and then let me know when you get back."
Yeah.
Well, because even his mom was like, "You will return," you know, like she kind of.
Well, and so something I just thought about now as we were talking about this, because his mom's the one that summons the Green Knight in the first place.
Yeah.
As one of the witches. And like, that was the one thing I just could not figure out, was like, why the hell did she do this? And like, seems to be totally cool with the fact that her son was the one that like, and like, as we've been talking about it, I'm like, you know what? I think that was her plan. It was like to help her son make a name for himself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, if you want an adventure, if you want legends, you have to earn it.
This is the life you want to live, then these are the things that you have to do.
Yeah.
For it.
So there was this like sense of belief in her son of like, you can become, you know, this, because for the longest time I was like, what's her fucking deal?
Yeah, I'm just tired of him staying out all night, coming home smelling like beer.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Going to church? You weren't at fucking church.
You weren't at church. You weren't at church.
You didn't go to Cracker Barrel afterwards.
No. But yeah, no, I fucked with it.
I enjoyed it. I definitely
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good one.
And that was The Green Knight.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I forget we're going 2 for 2. I'm still in the mindset of 1 for 1.
Well, if I jump over to I got Monkey Man, little Dev Patel as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
since we did say last week we were coming back to these two,
and we did.
So we flip flopped, we switched off, and I watched Monkey Man, Dev Patel's writing and directing debut as well. Which, as I was watching it, I was like, God bless Jordan Peele for championing this movie, because damn, what an undertaking to be your directorial debut, but it's also an action movie, and you're like, and it's like action packed too. It ain't, you know, this movie is not fucking around when it comes to its action. And I mean, I guess I just never really saw Dev Patel as the action hero type in like other things I'd seen him in before, but I enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked the, just kind of what it was all about. I liked the action scenes. I felt like it had a bit of a sense of humor to it a little bit.
Yeah. There's some funny moments, and there's also a lot of seriousness to it. And then, you know, him dealing with the fact that he couldn't, I guess, kind of in a way forgive himself for not being able to save his mom when there was nothing that he could have done to save her.
I liked the way the story unfolded. I like that it just kind of dropped you right into it. Whether like you might not realize that it's done that until it's like gotten going a little bit, but you're like, oh, this guy already has a plan. Like he's not like, oh, I saw this guy and now I'm going to get revenge. It's like, no, he's been working on this.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the way like he got dude's trust when he was like bet on the other guy. It was like, here's what's going to go down. I enjoyed that they ended up kind of staying like tight through the movie as well.
Yeah, because he even showed up to his last fight.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Monkey Man.
Yeah.
Like he was the first one to be like, fuck yes.
I enjoyed like the kind of symbolic thing with his mask having been dirty the whole time, and then like he cleans it there around the last scene where he goes out to finish his business and it's all white and stuff. And I liked it. I liked the little parallels of like the whole story of the monkey god or whatever.
Yeah,
Hanuman or
whatever.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I fucked with
it. Like I said, I definitely enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed yeah, just overall. I really liked that he was able to find that stray dog, and then
that was great.
I was like, what's up with this? And then that's how he was able to sneak the gun into into the past security and stuff like that.
Because I could tell he was training the dog. I was like, but for what? And then like when he goes through security and he doesn't have the gun on him, I'm like, oh, maybe he planted it on somebody else or something. And then it cuts to him in that back alley whistling. I'm like, oh, this motherfucker. Yeah. And here comes the dog with the gun in its mouth. I was like, that's pretty smart. Yeah, I fucked with it.
Yeah. It was definitely good.
Look at Dev Patel on the rise.
Oh yeah.
I love to see it. I feel like
I'm here for it.
I feel like he's a pretty underrated actor. I mean, just even between those two movies, I mean, he really shows a lot of what he can do. I mean, he's funny. He can do action. He can do a lot.
I can't even think of what else he's been in.
Well, like, I mean, his big thing was Slumdog Millionaire. That's what.
Which I didn't watch.
Yeah, that was what, the role that made him.
Right.
And then
put him on the map.
He's been in stuff here and there since, but like I just feel like he's never had quite like as substantial of a role since. But like, yeah, after watching these two movies, I'm like, he should be a fucking leading man. Like, even with The Green Knight, the director of that movie was talking about the fact that like he knows full well that Dev Patel does not fit the role as far as like the look of this character, because it's like clearly like were usually white men and all that stuff. And I guess from what I read, he just happened to see Dev Patel in like some modeling ad or something, and he was just looking real ripped and regal. And dude was like, I gotta hire this guy. Like he just really liked his look, and which I kind of enjoyed the fact that they just ignored it in The Green Knight. It's like, yeah, he was Indian, but they're not like, we're not going to explain this to you. He just is. Like
everyone just accepted it.
Yeah, they're just like, just assume he's white, I guess. Like, I don't know. I was just like, interesting. Like, it was an interesting. I liked it. I liked the choice because he did great in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I like that. The fact that it's just like, fuck it.
I didn't get to bring this up last week, but your twisting scene that could have happened was towards the end when he
of Monkey Man?
Yeah, when he stabbed the dude and he twisted.
Yeah, that's true.
That was another, you're twisting.
That's funny. Actually, I'll bring that back up later with a different movie. But yeah, Monkey Man is pretty sick. I can't wait to see what he does next. Because, I mean, the way the movie was shot, too, I just thought was very, like, intriguing. I was like, I love Dev Patel's mind on this. Like, I'm sure this was a very hard movie to make as, like, a feature debut, like... But he definitely had a vision of it, and I dug it.
And kudos again to Jordan Peele for being like, put this man on.
Yeah, he saw it. He was like, oh, I see what you're doing here, and I'm here for it. And
that was Monkey Man.
It could be, one could say it might be too woke for some people, Monkey Man, because it makes some stands, it makes some statements, but. It's part of it, Like if you don't like it, then Monkey Man's gonna find you and beat the living shit out of you. I don't know what to tell you.
People need to quit being oppressed.
Yeah, I do like Monkey Man. Kind of felt like a superhero origin story of sorts.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
I'd watch continuing adventures of Monkey Man.
I'd see Monkey Man too.
All right, hell yeah, I would. I want to see Monkey Man take down regimes.
I felt like it was implied that he died at the end, or just passed out.
Did he?
He collapsed.
I don't know. You'd think I just watched it a couple days ago. You're the steel trap, not me.
Yeah, well, it happened because that's like pretty much how the movie, like he like falls over and like the movie ends.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, hey, we thought Chris Hemsworth was dead at the end of Extraction, and we got Extraction too. So,
Well, yeah, true. True. He should have been dead.
He should have.
And then they're like, "Oh, we want to make another one. You're alive."
And he's back. What's next, bud?
Promising Young Woman.
I was about to be like, you finally watched it? I forgot I lent it to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it. What'd you think? You don't know what you think, do you? You feel conflicted.
I do know what I think.
Oh.
I think that was not necessarily the audience member for this movie.
Okay.
With that being said, I don't, condone rape culture in any sense of the word. But I just had like a hard time rooting for this girl.
Yeah.
Because I felt like she just was just kind of fucked up with the way that she was going about it. And it was just hard for me to like get on board with like her stance. I mean, I think part of it was because it's like, I understand that like it happened to her friend and her friend ended up killing herself because of it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, to take like such like a hard stance and like torture these people because of it. I get it. Like what they did was wrong.
Right. I feel you. I feel like that's a good way to put it. I feel like I also had a hard time. I got it. I understood what her motivation was. And yes, these people deserve their comeuppance, but it was hard to root for her as a character.
Yeah.
Just because of some of the extremes that she would take at times. That,
like making the one friend feel like she got raped. Or I guess
friend, yeah.
And then going to the dean's office and making her think that her daughter was getting raped, and then...
Which, like, again, I get it. You're taking extreme measures because nobody was listening to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like, I do get that. But even the way the movie ends, it's just like...
I saw it coming with, like, the videotape. I didn't necessarily see that coming, but, like, with the dude being...
Oh, with Bo Burnham's character?
Loosely involved.
Yeah.
I'm like... That one was... It's tricky because it's like... He didn't do anything, right. But that was the problem. But that was kind of the point, was that he didn't do anything. And so, I get it.
Which I feel like that's...
But it's like, at the same time, it's like... They were kids. They're, kids.
If you say that one more time.
But, like, I don't know. Not to ever condone anything like that to ever happen to anybody, right. or no one should ever feel humiliated or talked about or made to feel like you're this type of person just because, like, you do hook up with people or whatever. But, like, I don't know. If you're at, like, I don't know, it's just hard to be like, well, you're a piece of shit.
For being
being there, you know what I'm saying?
And not doing anything about it. Which, and that's the thing, I almost feel like this movie doesn't give a shit if you like the movie or not. Like, I think the point is to make you think about these situations, which it does. I will give it that. The movie succeeds in that tenfold because I've seen it at least twice now. And both times, I walk away from it thinking about it. And I'm like, these are fucked up things. And it does happen too often, far too often. A sickening degree, and yes, it's even sicker that there are people who they don't say anything, they don't stop it, they don't, they laugh, and it's like, but all that being said, I do come back to what you said about the main character. It's hard to root for her. It is hard to root for her. Like, I get her cause, but the way she went about some of it, like, it didn't.
Well, because even like the fact that she went over to like her friend's parents' house. And they're even like, just let it go.
Yeah.
Like you're not helping anything. Like, really, So so then there's.
In fairness, it's It's kind of like something we've discussed recently, where it's like it's hard. What's the time limit on some of these things? You know what I mean? Like how much forgiveness can you dish out on certain situations, and like it's a tough one. It's a tough movie for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew that. I saw it in theaters, and just remember leaving the theater like, man, I do not know how I felt about that movie, especially with the way it ended. I just didn't understand why she had to die for it.
That also didn't.
You know,
make
and
sense.
that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
about-
obviously, I think she wasn't intending on dying, but I think it was, if I do die, this is what happened.
So obviously she had a feeling.
Yeah, she's like,
die.
you know, if this doesn't go the way I
Yeah.
think it is, then she's just kind of covering her bases.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that. I was like, did she go there with the intent to just be like, well, so what would have happened if he didn't murder her?
Right. Then I guess she would have been proven wrong. I don't know.
You know, the only time that happened is when she went and talked to like the lawyer, and he was like, "I'm sorry," and she just forgave him.
Yeah, which is all she was looking for, you know. And it's like I get it.
I mean, I get it.
I get where she was coming from. I get that she wanted accountability, and
Yeah.
like that's what we all want in this world, is like people to take the accountability for these types of actions. Don't make excuses. Don't be like, oh, we were just kids. Oh, we were this. Like all she wanted was accountability. That's it. Plain and simple. Now her methods of going about it were incredibly extreme, and it didn't feel like one of those things that it didn't necessarily feel satisfying. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't one of those things where it's like, you got them. You gave them exactly what they deserved. Like it always felt like
it just made me feel like it's almost just as bad what you're doing to these people. I get why you're doing it.
And I think that was my biggest problem. It was like, I get that you're trying to make a point to them. Like, what if it was your daughter in this situation? Like, but that's intense. I mean, to do that to somebody, like, you know, it's like, I get it, but like, it is hard to root for a character like that.
Yeah.
But I can't, in that regard, I can't necessarily say it's a bad movie. I mean,
I wouldn't say it was a bad movie. It's just conflicted, I guess.
But
I'm also like, at the same time, like, I'm not a female,
right?
You know, who has to worry about necessarily like these things happening to me on a regular basis. So I can understand why when something like that does happen and then it's not being taken seriously, when it's something that is serious, that there is a lot of anger that, you know, that goes involved with that. So I mean, I definitely tried to.
And there was, because I saw another movie, I think it was called A Vigilante, and it had Olivia Wilde in it. And it was similar in the sense that she was like a vigilante on behalf of women who were being, you know, abused and raped and all this stuff. And like, because she herself had been a victim. And so but it takes more of like a violent revenge.
It's kind of like I Spit on Your Grave 3 was that way.
Yeah, you know, so it's sort of, but I could see where the filmmaker that made Promising Young Woman, her name's Emerald Fennell, I think is her name. I could see where maybe she was kind of sick of that trope. I could see where maybe she wanted to do a little something different. Yeah. And not just be like, oh, and then she goes and just kills everybody. Like, you know, it's like she had more to say. For sure. But, you know, I don't know. I have to give the movie points for that unsettling feeling of like, oh, do I like this movie? Do I not like this movie? I don't really feel... Because I feel like that was kind of her whole intent. Like, she doesn't want you walking out of this movie feeling like, man, what a great movie that was, you know? Like, she wants you to feel icky, you know? Like...
it's an icky topic.
It is. But yeah, tough movie. Because when I watched it the second time, I watched it with Belle and was looking forward to it because I'm like, I've never gotten the chance to talk to a woman who has seen this movie. And so I'm very curious, you know, what you think of it. And I feel like she enjoyed it, but I feel like she was equally kind of conflicted on some things, even from a female perspective. So yeah. But you are right. I do feel like at the end of the day, we are not the... We're not the experts on something like this.
Yeah. You know, so I can only say how I feel about it, but like again, just to triple down on this, I do not condone that type of behavior. Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that was a promising young woman. And what's next? Empty Man,
Okay.
which I enjoyed at first. I was like, nah. I was like, wasn't really into it at first. Like, because I mean, it was because especially like with the whole thing in the beginning with
The whole
the
30-minute interlude or intro, basically.
yeah,
Little prologue.
with like the chick just ended up stabbing all the people and then jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they did kind of end up coming back around and explaining it, but not really. Like, was she a part of like that cult and was making sure that he got to that place to become the Empty Man? Was that what they were?
That I don't know about.
Because I mean, there's a few things that didn't make sense to me about this movie, and it's more towards the end. But I don't know. So it was just like it was just I don't know. It was just odd a little bit. Because I get there's obviously like a supernatural element
Yeah.
to it all, and like it was like this entity that this cult was worshiping or whatever. But it was around the time that the dude was really looking into it. And so he goes to the church and he was like, and one thing that I always thought was really weird is he kept on saying, I'm from San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what is that? What does that mean?
Oh, well, I knew what that meant. He was making a joke. He was making a Scientology joke.
Okay.
Every time they'd like make, they're like, oh, well, our belief system is like, I'm from San Francisco. I know all about.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, you really keep telling people that you're
Yeah,
from
he
San
wasn't just
Francisco.
saying that to say that. It was a bit, yeah.
I mean, I figured it was a bit. It's just a bit I didn't
Yeah,
fully
gotcha.
understand, but I don't also know the origins of Scientology. So, it's not something that I would have just known. I know it's big in California, but I digress. Anyways,
I'm no fucking expert.
so it was around the time he goes like to the cabin or whatever, and he's going through the files trying to look for this girl or whatever, and like he pulls out a red file with his name on it because I was like didn't put it together at first that was him, so I had to pause it. I got on Letterboxd, looked up the cast, and saw that his name was Jack, whatever the fuck, or whatever his name was. And I was like, okay, because he was like, y'all are funny. He's like, you guys are funny. I was like, what's funny? So
That's funny. I want to laugh.
I was like, that is funny. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And so there's like all of them like running around the fire, and like it went up into the sky. And so he's like in the woods, and they're kind of just like all like doing like this little march.
Mm-hmm.
And he steps on a twig, and they all just like stop and like turn and look at him, and and then like he takes another step back and like makes another like snapping noise, and they all kind of like just shift their head to the side, and he was like, Nikki, did you like the Empty Man? And he was like, yeah, nope. And like just took off running. I was like, okay, I'm into it. And then it was like towards the end, like just like I guess just like what did not make sense to me is like so they go to the hospital and you find the dude from the beginning. They're like, oh, the one dude lasted 500 years and then passed, and it's like we needed someone else to take the mantle, so we tried to just put it in someone. It's like, well, that really didn't work because it's just, Nikki, come here. Doesn't move. So, she threw off my goddamn train of thought. And so they're like, so we
the
just,
vessel.
yeah, and I got it back.
Okay.
And then they're like, oh, well, so we decided to create one, and so we created you. and she like the girl that I was looking for the whole time was like going through this whole spiel, and like they made it seem like she had a part of like his whole life, like creating this person, because she even made the comment. She's like, yeah, I know about you and my mom. She's like, I'm the one that added that in there, and I'm just like, good God, dude, shut up. And so
Nikki finally speaks, and
I'm over it, right into the mic. And I'm just like, so did they just like fabricate this man's whole life? Like that's what I was confused about. I was like, she's younger than he is, so like
they fabricated the man.
Yeah,
he's not real.
Yeah, well, she's just crazy. That whole thing just didn't just kind of
that was like what the whole movie was about. Was like they were trying to manifest like the whole thing of there's like a name for it, but like if you
conjure maybe
like there's a specific name for when you like mentally like you think about something so much that you manifest it into reality. And so that's what this cult was like attempting to do, was like to like, can they do it? Like, can we just create a man with nothing more than our thoughts? And so yeah, that's why she was younger.
That's just
because he never existed up until that point,
which is just wild. I mean, that's just like that whole concept is just kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, which is funny because like a long time ago, I thought about doing a story like that, and because it's just something about that concept was very interesting to me. Like, can you create something with just the power of your mind? You know, if you think that hard about it, if there's enough collective energy towards something, like could you manifest it? But what I think is interesting about The Empty Man is just the anomaly of a movie that it is, because like a movie like that is crazy that like the guy who made it was like basically a first time feature director, and a studio like 20th Century Fox at the time was like, sure, here's a big budget, make a studio movie about this. Like, it's such like an indie movie premise, but this man got hundreds of millions of Fox dollars to make this fucking movie.
Hundreds of millions?
Yeah, I mean, probably movies ain't cheap.
Well, yeah, but even then,
a low budget movie is considered $1 million. So anyways, I digress. Maybe it wasn't hundreds of millions. Maybe it was tens of millions. Maybe it's just 100 million. I don't fucking know. Anyways, regardless, the studio gave him the money to make this movie, which is just crazy. And the only theory that I've heard thrown out there is like it was in the days where Fox knew its days were numbered and like Disney was going to pick them up. So they said, fuck it. And they just were like, sure, you want to make this crazy ass movie, this horror epic that's almost 3 hours long about just the craziest like out there concepts ever. Like this, because then it became one of those things that like Disney, when they took it over, had no fucking idea what to do with this movie. They had no idea. They were like, how do we even begin to market this? And then they just tried to silently kill it by releasing it in theaters like during COVID. In 2020, it was one of the few movies that up there with New Mutants, they said, kill it. They said, put it out there while nobody can go see this thing. So they did, and it went to theaters. And like the marketing for it, I remember I could care less about this movie because the way it played was like just your standard generalized like the Something Man movie, that like Slender Man or whatever, like the Bye Bye Man, the Boogeyman. Like you just figured it's going to be, and the way the trailers made it seem like that kind of movie.
It was not. And that's why I was kind of like, snoozing through the beginning. I'm like, oh, it's just going to be one of these types of movies.
No, it's like a 2.5 hour long cosmic horror film that like just should not exist, but it does. And
I'm glad it does.
And I'm glad it does too.
I liked it. I did like it.
I really enjoyed it.
I will say that. I did enjoy it. I do think that
It's a trip. It's not for everybody.
I could have went without the scene of like showing him having sex with girl's mom and then having like his wife and kids die. Like I understood it,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like there was enough payoff to warrant like actually showing it happen because we knew it happened. It wasn't like it was building up to this. It's like, and this is how it happened. He was being unfaithful while his family was dying. It's like, okay.
Also,
you created that for him,
right? Yeah, you don't hold that.
We needed someone who was just sad, so we made a really sad story for your life.
Also,
you did not grow up in San Francisco.
By the way, it was based on a comic book, a graphic novel, and the similarities pretty much end at the title. Nice. I feel like the comic book was like almost has nothing to do with what this movie turned out to be. It couldn't be more different from one another.
That's kind of funny though.
Yeah, but no, that's one very underrated little gem. I'm glad I own a copy because it's not even one they gave a physical release to. The only reason I have a copy is because Redbox had copies. And those were like the only physical media they put out was like rentals.
You said, I'm not returning this.
Well, it was one, they had it for sale. It was
nice.
So I said, well, hell yeah. So I snatched that thing up just to own it. Because it was like, in this age where they're phasing out physical media, it's a good one. It's an underrated gem. It
is. Philly would recommend. If you can find Empty Man, watch it.
If you can find it. Yeah. And that was The Empty Man.
That was The Empty Man.
I gave another rewatch to Malignant last night.
Which I want to watch.
It was, I won't get into it. It came out in 2021 when it was still like, fresh off of COVID. Not everybody was coming back to the theaters just yet. And, Warner Brothers was doing that thing that year where they were doing the day and date releases with Max, and Malignant was one of those. So sometimes I'd go see them in theaters and then watch them on Max. Sometimes I'd watch them on Max and then still go see it in theaters. Like Dune was that way, I think. I watched it at home and I was like, oh god damn, I gotta go see this in a theater. But Malignant was one I believe I watched at home. I was like, damn, that movie is fucking crazy. James Wan directed it. Okay. Modern day horror king. Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring. Like, he's got a lot of good ones under his belt. And this definitely felt like just something he wanted to do. This felt like a movie that he wanted to do after like doing, he did Fast and Furious 7, he did Aquaman. Like, I feel like he was ready to just kind of get back to doing like a horror movie for him. And he gets fucking wild. That's for sure. I remember watching it the first time and the ending was just like, Jesus Christ, this movie's going off the rails, like in the
what the
just
fuck?
Like in the craziest way. But
that's what I heard about. I heard a lot of people say they liked it, and I heard it's not the movie you expected it to be.
I liked it. I will say, I do feel like it's one of those movies that upon a rewatch, knowing what happens affects it a little bit. I feel like it's nowhere near as good once you do know what's going to happen. Some people might disagree with me on that, but
hot takes. Leave it in the comments, folks.
Hey, that's just how I felt about it. I mean, I know some people who just straight up don't even care for the movie at all. But
well, you're always going to have that.
Yeah, it's like I knew the secret. You know what I mean? So like at that point, it's hard to watch the movie with that same level of like, what?
Like the genie's already out of the bottle.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and that happens. There's just movies like that they'll never be as good again.
This is all Max, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I might watch it tonight.
Yeah, that's what we watched it on. Oh, we got your Max back, huh? Oh, well, yep, nope, yep. But yeah, so.
What else do you have?
Just one more. The one we just saw today.
Oh, so I got two more.
Okay.
All right. I watched Rocketman.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I really did. Um, didn't know a lot about Elton John. I mean, obviously, I know who he
Right,
is.
right, right.
But as far as like
His personal life. And
his
whatnot.
personal life and stuff like that, I felt like it would have been a good one to watch during my little addiction phase.
Oh, for sure.
Just because like he
Yeah.
did kind of struggle with that.
He sure did.
And I feel like that is a very common theme
In musician
for,
biopics.
well, especially like in musicians, but I just feel like being like a cultural phenomenon like
Right,
that,
a
or like
public figure.
that there's just a lot of substance abuse
Yeah.
that seems to go on, and no one cares until it's like you're being scrutinized for it. It's
Right.
like, how long was it going on before, until like it's not until you're in that final tailspin where people are like, oh, and look
Yeah.
at this. It's like, where was all the signs? Where was the help? Where was the concern leading up until that point? It's not until like you're like hitting rock bottom that people want to like crucify you for it. So
That is true.
kind of crazy to think about. But I also enjoyed how many songs I actually knew
Yeah.
of his, for like, because I'm not like a avid Elton John listener by
Right.
any means, but even like going through and like they're going through some of his hits, I'm like, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
I know that one. Like,
I will say, every time I watch it, I can't help but to start listening to Elton John.
like
afterwards.
I thought I had the same thought. I was like, maybe I need to go down like a little Elton John rabbit hole discography and just listen to all his shit and just be like, okay, Ellen,
Okay.
I see you. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought Taron Egerton did a great job. Got fucked by Bohemian Rhapsody being out the year before. So now that you've seen both, would you agree with me on that statement?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't a fan of Bohemian Rhapsody to begin with, so
I just feel like the performance was so much better. And like I said, he actually sings the songs too.
yeah.
Like,
Well, maybe dude can't sing.
Rami Malek? I
Yeah.
don't give a shit. You shouldn't have hired him then.
Okay, well,
If he couldn't sing, then don't fucking do it then.
yeah. I mean, that is true, but that's a
Even earlier
that's
today,
a-
we saw that trailer for The Amateur, and it's like Academy Award winner Rami Malek, and I about spit on the floor.
oh
I
damn.
said, "Get that shit out of here!"
Wasn't he in Mr. Robot?
Yeah.
I never watched that show.
I watched like the first episode. I was like, "This is pretty good," and then I never watched it
Same.
anymore.
I watched the first episode. I was like, I feel like I could really get into this,
Didn't get into
and
it.
then didn't get into it,
Yeah.
and now it's hard to find.
True.
You know what? I'm gonna have to make a list for the library. That's
There you go.
That's a TV series. It's only like what 2-3 seasons.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
not very long. And then after we left the library, I was like, I wanted to get Before Sunset and After Sunrise, and I fucking didn't.
Actually, it's funny you say that because Belle also recommended getting those movies because somebody at work was talking to her about it, and she's like, "I really want to watch those. You should get those sometime." Okay, so add it to the list.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a list.
Yeah, no shit.
So
But yeah, no, Rocketman, pretty good.
that was Rocketman,
good.
and I mean, it wasn't
Probably one of my favorite musicals. If I gotta say, I just really enjoy how it all plays out. I feel like Elton John had a pretty, big hand in things, and I like that he didn't shy away from a lot of his life in this. Like,
Yeah.
and yes, he took his own approach to telling that story in like a more fantastical, cinematic way, rather than just your standard,
Yeah, but he kind of lived a fantastical, extravagant life.
Yeah.
So it kind of it fit with I felt like who Elton John is as a person. He's obviously not dead.
right.
But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. What I really enjoyed is like the details in like the costumes
Oh,
design. Because like after the movie, it'd go through and like it'd show like the side by side shots of Elton John wearing the costume and
Mhm.
then Edgerton wearing it. It's like spot on. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good one.
I'd have to, maybe one of these days I'll make like a letterboxed top 4 musicals, and we'll see where Rocketman lands. I still feel like I won't put Once above it, but
Well,
Once holds a special place in my heart. So
Once would quite possibly be on my top 4. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, see those goddamn letterbox top 4s, they'll get you. It's hard, man. Because now that I'm thinking about like what would my top 4 musicals be, I'm like, shit. I might have to give this a little more time to.
I'd have to look at musicals.
The ones that are all coming to my head immediately, I'm just like, but are those the 4? Because I don't know. Because I feel like Rocketman might get the boot. I don't know if Rocketman would make the 4. I think Once would probably go on there. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny would most definitely go on there. It's the movie that made me want to make movies. Across the Universe, probably. And then
That was all right.
I might want to say La La Land.
Yeah, I'd have to.
But then it's like there's so many like older, like Cabaret is phenomenal.
Never watched it.
It's a good one. It's a classic. My cousin Jim, I think he nailed it down as his number 1 favorite movie of all time.
Oh shit!
I was like, no shit. I was like, hey, it's a good one.
Guess I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I have to watch everything, so add to the list.
It's true. But now, shit, just one more thing to think about. Favorite musicals.
Was that Rocketman? Should I move on?
Hey, that's Rocketman.
The next one I have is another one that you really enjoyed, and to continue down the David Lynch
Okay.
road, so to speak, is A Straight Story.
Yeah.
Or The Straight Story, whichever one it was.
One.
Enjoyed it.
It's enjoyable.
They tried to get me to cry. I wasn't going to let them.
It's Man of Steel.
They really wanted to push my damn buttons.
But you love siblings.
I love siblings. But the siblings thing was
irrelevant. Did they age out of the...
No. But it wasn't heartwarming in that aspect. I mean, it was nice that he rode.
It wasn't heartwarming. The man couldn't drive.
He rode. But he was also stubborn. He could have got a ride.
Oh, for sure.
And he was like, nah.
Reminds me of a couple of kids I once knew.
Yeah, but we didn't travel states. So.
Just towns.
Yeah.
Our mothers didn't see the difference, but whatever.
No, but my feet did. My feet knew the difference. We were those kids, by the way. No, but I mean, yeah, the scene I was talking about was when he was at the bar talking with the old timer about the war.
Oh.
And they were sharing their war stories, and he was talking about how he accidentally killed their recon scout. I'm like, damn, that's rough. And talking about the drinking and how he's like, I think a lot of people, when you see the things that we saw, like we want to do everything that we can to just forget about it and try to, drown away the sorrows, so to speak. And he's like, you can't do it. He's like, you have to kind of at a certain point just accept what happened and try to live with that and move forward versus just using something to just numb the pain, because then the pain never leaves. You're not dealing with it, you're just prolonging the effects, essentially. But I could go on and on about substance stuff, but no, I mean, it was cool. I really enjoyed just like how genuine of a guy he was. Like even like picking up the pregnant chick coming over that first time and talking to him, and he's like, "Well, you're talking to an old geezer like me." It's like, I think your family would want to see you and stuff like that. The thing with his daughter losing her kids. that was real rough, and then it hit even harder when he was driving by, when he started to lose control going down the hill, and there was that house on fire. And I think there's just like that moment of like PTSD, just like with the smelling of like the smoke, and then seeing the house on fire. I think it just brought back a lot of, sad times. And so I mean, there's definitely like moments. I loved another scene that I really enjoyed was when he negotiated down the price for the twins fixing the lawnmower,
which were Chris Farley's brothers.
Nice.
Yeah. Chris Farley would have been in it if he had been alive.
But sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really enjoyed the simplicity of that movie. I feel like that's really what won me over.
Yeah.
It is a straight story. I mean, it's just, it is what it is, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So it was definitely cool. I enjoyed it. I was shocked at how long it took him to travel until someone asked him, was like, how long have you been going at this? He's like, oh, about 5 weeks. I'm like, God damn, dude. That is a long ass time. I enjoyed all the times that he stopped and just had like a kind of like a moment of peace and happiness watching the storms, because he always enjoyed it. And so there's the one scene where he's like under like the little barn, and he's just like sitting there content, just watching the storm go through. I'm like, a man of simple pleasures.
Yeah. I like it.
I did like it. He went to the doctor and he's like, we're not doing scans. You're not paying me to look at anything. I don't want a walker. He's like, how about an extra cane? He's like, fine. Another scene that I really enjoyed. I mean, I apparently I just enjoyed the whole goddamn movie. But another scene that I liked was before he was getting ready to leave, and he's talking to the general store clerk, trying to buy the grabber, and he was just like real like. He's like, he's gonna take, and he had two. And he's like, yeah, it's a good grabber. He was like, it's pretty good. He's like, kind of hard to find. He was like, it's gonna take a while before you can get a new one. He's like, okay,
just
okay. Like, what an old timer kind of thing. And then the other guy that was in the store is like, oh, so what you doing? He's like asking, being real nosy there, aren't you? And he's like, what you need the grabber for? He's like, to grab things. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was, like you said, just a straight story.
Yeah.
I can still see like the little bit of like the David Lynch style of like his shooting and stuff like that. Within the movie, which I still glad that he still was able to have like his obviously artistic influence on the story and stuff like that, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I dug it.
And that was the straight story.
Yeah.
And you ready to
cap this sucker off?
Ready to end again? 2 episodes in a row by a movie that we have seen.
Oh, in theaters. Yes. Yeah. 2 weeks in a row. Look at that. Yeah. So obviously spoilers, but I like to let the people know when it's brand new, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
like, I like the method that we're going with waiting till the end.
You like to build it up, you know?
You know, because then it's like, if you haven't seen the movie, this is the perfect time to cut off.
Yeah.
It's not like in the middle. You don't have to speed forward. It's like, hey,
you can choose to leave now if you want.
We're talking about The Monkey.
The
Monkey, folks. It just came out a couple days ago.
And speaking of James Wan, produced this one.
Yeah. I was going to bring it up.
Yeah, produced it. Stephen King wrote the original short story it was based off of. I'm going to have to read it myself.
I'd be curious to see what
the actual short story
what's
consists
the same and what's different.
Yeah. And then Osgood Perkins, who just directed Longlegs last year, turned around and whipped this sucker out in no time flat. And from what we hear, if you do go see it, stay through the end credits, because I guess there's a little tease for his next movie as well. So
the long-legged monkey.
The long-legged monkey. Fuck that, bro. Fuck that. Yeah, the little demon dolls from Longlegs get together with the monkey.
Nice.
But yeah, enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
I keep coming back to the word fun because it's how I felt. I felt like it was a fun time.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like that's what was promised to me with the marketing was like, I feel like dude did Longlegs and was really marketing like, oh, this is this scary movie. And like, yeah, it's intense, it's chilling, stuff like that. Yeah. But this one, they're
a lot more suspenseful.
Yeah. And this time around, they were like, no, we're gonna have a bloody good time. And that's about what it was. I do feel the story itself felt a little, I don't know. I still don't know. I still don't know quite how to put my finger on it. It was just something about the way the story like played out with the brothers just felt so weirdly paced that it was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The story was just a little lacking for me, I guess.
And I feel like, I think
the main story, that is.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why I'd be a little bit curious to check out Stephen King's version of what this was, because kind of like what you were saying, it was kind of weirdly paced, and I just felt like, I mean, I get that the brothers, obviously, it's not a sibling movie to pull my heartstrings by any means. It was more of a
sibling rivalry.
Yeah. He ate most of the placenta, so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's already that. I mean, I don't know. It's just like.
I just feel like we went into this movie and I'm like, hey, hour and a half, nice. And now I'm like, I wish it might be a little longer just to have gotten more. And I will say this, I don't necessarily think it's necessary to have this. I think you can still enjoy the movie without it. But I just feel like I wish we'd gotten to know the characters a little better. Because I feel like, okay, we know you guys don't like each other. Like, we know your relationship to this monkey. But I just feel like I got to connect with the main characters a little more than what we did.
Yeah. I think even more so, even in that regard, with the quote-unquote older brother as an adult. Because I felt like, I mean, once you went from like the kids to them as an adult 25 years later, you did get to spend more time with
the main
brother. So there was, but even then there wasn't
I
much,
feel like
there wasn't there wasn't really a lot of like.
I feel like it hit that 25-year jump and then they just were very surface level about these boys' life.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie is more concerned about moving from little like kill piece to kill piece, like rather than getting deep on anything. Osgood Perkins is like, you want deep? Go fucking watch Longlegs.
Yeah. Or stay tuned for my
whatever's
sneak peek
next
of my next movie.
Yeah.
And I will say, obviously I didn't know anything about the short story, and I knew nothing going into the movie. I never watched the trailer, never looked at anything.
Okay.
So I had absolutely no idea what to go into. But I think you're right with saying that it was fun, and I think they did a good job of establishing that.
Oh, from the jump.
At that opening scene.
If that drumstick goes down, we're fucked all to hell.
I don't feel fucked all to hell, and then got fucked all to hell.
Yeah.
His fucking guts dragged
out.
Even
what did he say when he sees the flamethrower and then he goes to like light it and he says something? He's like, "You insufferable son of a whore."
And was that the dad?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Which I feel like I had just heard the other day that Adam Scott was in this thing, and I had forgotten all about it. And so when it started, I was like, "Is that?" oh shit, it is Adam Scott. He loves making his appearances in horror movies. Sometimes is some of my favorite parts of those horror movies. Piranha 3D, I loved him in that. Fucking Krampus, he's good in Krampus.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I enjoyed Ghost.
Yeah.
From
Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
I forget that she's She-Hulk.
Yeah, she sure is.
Oh,
but
well,
to us now,
be,
she's always going to be Ghost.
She will always be Ghost.
Ginger
now.
Snaps too. Yeah, no, I liked her character. I did. I know you said, like, you know, as far as the dialogue went, it was kind of they would just say weird things sometimes. Like, people don't talk like this.
Yeah, I think the one that probably sticks out the most is when she's talking to the boys
about the little death speech she gives. Yeah,
I was like,
But that's part of, like, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like this whole movie was just, it was trying to be snappy. It was trying to be quick. It was trying to just give you a good, fun hour and a half movie. And with that being the case, I think it succeeds with that. You know, if you're looking for anything deeper, this is not that movie.
Well, it doesn't even have to be deeper. It could just be, I don't know. I just feel like you don't have to necessarily go deeper to have better dialogue.
Well, see, and my thing is, I didn't think it was bad dialogue. Like, I don't think it was bad dialogue. I just think it was, the tone of the movie was already set of, like, things are off here. And, like, I mean, every single one of these adults, even the kids, like, you know, I think it was interesting, like, yes, they would bring up a few times, like, oh, watch your language, but otherwise, like, even the kids being like, what the fuck? Like, just some of the reactions in this movie are, like, so genuine in a weird way. But then, like, when it does come to the dialogue, it's definitely, like, very stylized dialogue. Like, it's 100% not how people actually talk. Like, there's definitely, like, a rhythm to it. There's a quirkiness to a lot of the characters in this movie and the way they speak. And even that, like, in the opening narration, I was like, I'm picking up on the Stephen King vibes. I'm like, if anything is actually ripped from the short story, I would not be surprised if it's this narration that he's doing.
Yeah.
Because it sounded very Stephen King-esque.
Yeah.
But I feel you. I mean, we can definitely disagree on that.
Yeah,
you
know.
I didn't necessarily find it to be bad, just a little quirky.
I didn't. Well, I mean, I guess bad would be harsh for me to say. It just threw me off a little bit. Yeah. How about that?
I think it was a part of its just, like, weird, dark sense of humor this movie had too.
Yeah, I mean, because some of the jokes wouldn't have worked if they weren't delivered.
Yeah.
In the way that they were, so I can understand that.
Yeah, Osgood Perkins makes a little cameo as Uncle Chip.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, yeah. He played. I assumed he wasn't going to survive long if he was going to make a little director cameo, but I laughed quite a bit at this movie. I did get quite a few giggles out of it.
One scene that I just thought was absolutely ridiculous was the ant.
Oh, yeah.
Who, like, I mean, as someone who has no sense of smell, I have never heard of anyone sticking their face in front of...
Right, that close to the gas to figure out if it's...
Yeah.
But I feel like that was, like, that scene in particular, like, a lot of what did make me laugh about this movie was the pure fucking absurdity of some of the situations. And, like, that was one that as soon as she, like, fell through the stairs, I was like, well, I know that's not it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she jolts up and has all the fish hooks in her face. I'm like, well, I know that's not it.
Yeah.
And
as soon as she put the alcohol on her face, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Did you notice the char marks across the ceiling when they went back to the house?
No, I did not.
Like, when they're in the living room, there's, like, a shot where, like, just, like, down the whole fucking living room, you can see, like black from how from the flames.
Did not pick up on
Yeah,
that. That's funny.
I thought that was a nice little touch. I
Yeah.
did notice that. I was like,
I did hear this movie
because
almost.
that flame also ridiculous. Like, yes, getting your head caught on fire, sure, but that big of a ball, like that big of a flame, to like the thing was like fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, it's just silly.
Well, and of course the absurdity of just how quickly she caught fire like that, and then that was the part that actually made me laugh quite hard, was when she caught fire, and then it was like it cuts to the shot like outside of the house, and you can like kind of hear her screaming, but then she runs by the doorway just like ah! Like it's like her scream was so theatrical and like ridiculous in and of itself that it got a good laugh out of me.
Yeah.
And then for her to run out and then step into that flower vase, and then, and then I'm just like, my God, it's just. But I almost expected something a little different with some of the deaths, just because people kind of made it seem like it was going to be more of like a Final Destination kind of thing, where it was more. I mean,
of like I could see
like that scene. I felt like was like the most like that.
Like the Final Destination scene. I would
like when the ant goes up in flames and so I feel like that's the most like here, just this like snowballing. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of happens a few times.
Yeah, because then the like kind of like a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah. But not as much as I thought it would. Like, I thought it would be like all these deaths were like these little Rube Goldberg machines.
Yeah, and then the final death was like that.
Yes, that is true. I did not expect him to walk out alive. I was like, this is not that movie.
I knew he was going to bite the dust.
Like, no. I did not expect, like, basically, I mean, I guess it wasn't the apocalypse, but like,
I almost kind of wish it would have been.
It was the apocalypse for this town, at least. Like, it was just wild.
Yeah. Because when he was like, what did I do wrong? It's like, you literally tried to force the monkey to hit the drum.
He
like,
doesn't like that.
He threw you across the room. Like, what do you mean? And then he just went, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a lot of banging, bud.
Sure was.
And and there was a lot of death.
Hell yeah, there was.
Fucking,
as the
was that Elijah Wood made a little?
Oh yeah, I already forgot he was in this fucking movie. Yeah,
cameo appearance.
Even made it out alive too. Good for him.
Yeah. Because we never went back to them.
No, we did not. Well, like the tagline of the movie says, everyone dies, and that's fucked up.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they talked about. It's like, even the son was talking about that, where he was
at the end.
He was like, everyone dies, but everyone dying at the same time. Like, that's kind of
a bit much.
That's a lot.
The silliest thing for me was the cheerleader thing.
Oh, of course.
I wanted that explained. Like, why were they there the first time? Like, why were they cheering when they brought the body out of that? That I didn't get, but like,
I don't know, maybe because of just like how many deaths were happening.
I thought I was going to get more into that. Like, the second time they did it solely as a bit, and that was fine with me. It was silly. It was a fun way to end the movie, but that first time, I'm like, what the fuck is that all about?
Yeah. I don't know, like, I guess, me, big sibling guy. So,
if you didn't pick up on that.
If you don't know nothing about me, know that I love siblings. So I've never had like that like sibling rivalry.
Right.
I get that obviously some people do, but like, and that is like a very real thing that some people like go through in life. Same thing as brother need to be like
as big of a dick as he was. Well, and I feel like that's kind of part of what does kind of deduct some points for me on this movie, like as far as the story goes, is because like when they're adults, like, okay, you don't really need to get much more into the one dude's life, because like I get it, like he's been the narrator since the beginning of the movie. Like you can assume certain things about the way he lives his life and stuff, and they kind of cover more ground later with him. But like when they make the jump to the brother, I feel like they reveal the brother's plans very quick. I feel like they just like rapid fire, like here's what the brother's been up to, here's what his motives are, here's this, that, and the other. And then they just like make him the bad guy, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I feel like that switches so fast that I feel like if it was more of a thing that like it eased us into it, and then we felt a little more betrayed, like it's like, what's going on with this brother? Is he actually trying to like, but they just throw that out the window very fast, and they're like, well, he's just trying to kill him because he found out that it was just very fast.
I almost wish that they would have revealed that he found out that he killed his mom as a kid while they were still kids, so then that could have festered a little bit more, where it's like, okay, so he's had 25 years of like stewing on this versus oh, here he is, oh, he found out, oh, he's trying to kill his brother.
Yes.
Like, so I mean,
yeah,
I don't think it would have taken anything away from the story to just have it like, okay, here's the kid, more story. Now here's the adults, and and so. Well,
especially with as much time as they took with them as kids, I feel like they could have spared.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if half the movie was them just as the kids, then.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I get that it was meant to be funny. I didn't really find it very funny. Where it was, they're talking. He's like, it was my mom too, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I never really thought about it like that." And it's like, what? It's like, oh, I should have. We're brothers, twins, even. It's like, I was like, okay. I mean, I get it was meant to just be like a silly, a silly moment, but a little too silly for Philly.
I feel you. But.
Still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun.
I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Especially to get in those that end scene credit.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look that up or something. But yeah. No, I enjoyed it.
So
it was fun.
Overall,
fun time with the movies.
It was decent. If you want like a nice little silly, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't have to think about it too much. You're not within an age of like 2 to 3 hour long movies. It's quick, it's snappy, it's fun. You don't really have to think about it too much. You just go along for the ride, and it's over.
Yeah, that was a nice little, I guess, horror comedy.
Yeah, and that was The Monkey.
That was The Monkey, and that was
episode 20.
Episode 20. Nikki, do you want to give a growl before we end? No.
Nope.
All right. So we gave her moment, and she decided to just.
Thanks to our special guest, Nikki, today.
Yes, thank you.
All of her input.
Yeah.
Until next week.
Until next time, you guys. All righty.
Later.
Bye.